the summer of 1944, Allied forces are gearing up for a major operation to secure a foothold in Europe, liberate France, and push the Axis forces back. However, this isn't the invasion at Normandy, but rather a significant landing in the southern part of France. It's August 15th, and the Allied forces are preparing to land on the sunny Mediterranean beaches of southern France, not the cold shores of Normandy. By the summer of 1944, the Allied forces are making substantial progress on multiple fronts. The Normandy landings have begun to break the German defensive lines, and in Italy, the Allies have captured Rome, causing German forces to retreat. However, while advances are being made, the terrain and challenges of Italy, especially the Alps, slow progress. The Allies begin to look for alternative ways to strike deeper into occupied Europe. One of the proposed plans is Operation Anvil, an invasion of southern France. Initially, Operation Anvil was considered as an alternative to the Normandy landings. While the landings in Normandy were progressing, critical ports such as Toulon and Marseille remained vulnerable to Allied attack. However, not all leaders were in favor of this plan. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill opposed the operation, believing that resources could be better used advancing into the Balkans to curb Soviet influence. His obsession with limiting Soviet expansion became a significant factor in his reluctance. In contrast, Supreme Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower is focused on ensuring the success of the war, pushing for more resources to secure southern France's ports, which would facilitate the arrival of more troops and supplies. The French, led by Charles de Gaulle, also support the operation, eager for a greater role in liberating their own country. As a compromise, it is agreed that French forces will participate, though under the command of U.S. General Alexander Patch for now. In early August 1944, the British Chiefs of Staff finally approve Operation Anvil, but it is renamed Operation Dragoon to maintain secrecy. The operation is planned meticulously, with the use of tourist photos from before the war to perfect landing plans. The invasion is set for August 15th, with 3 American divisions leading the assault, followed by French forces, many of whom are African troops. Their goal is to establish a beachhead, hold off a German counterattack, and eventually capture Toulon and Marseille. The German defenses are in place under the command of General Johannes Blaskowitz, overseeing Army Group G. While this group has 230,000 troops across southern France, only about 30,000 are stationed near the invasion beaches. The defenders are mostly made up of poorly equipped garrison units, many of whom are foreign conscripts, adding to the difficulties of communication and cohesion within the German forces. The German forces rely heavily on static defenses, including minefields and beach obstacles, to slow the advance of Allied forces. By 1944, these groups control much of the countryside and carry out ambushes and sabotage operations, making it difficult for German units to maintain control. Resistance groups, bolstered by the British Special Operations Executive, SOE, and the U.S. Office of Strategic Services, OSS, play a critical role in providing intelligence, cutting off communication lines, and preparing the way for the Allied invasion. In the days leading up to the main invasion, several pre-invasion raids are carried out to weaken German defenses. On August 14th and 15th, Allied paratroopers and seaborne units begin striking key positions. U.S.-Canadian commandos take out artillery positions on the Ile d'Hyères, and French African commandos set up roadblocks along the coast. These actions disrupt German communications and defenses, helping to pave the way for the main landings. The airborne operation, however, doesn't go as smoothly as planned. Thick fog makes it difficult for paratroopers to land in the designated zones, and only 40% of them land where they were supposed to. However, this miscalculation proves beneficial as the Germans mistake the drop for a larger-scale airborne operation. By 8 a.m. on August 15th, the main invasion force, consisting of 3 divisions, is in place off the coast. The landings are made at 3 locations: Alpha, Delta, and Camel Beaches, between Fréjus and Cavalaire-sur-Mer. The first concern for the Allied forces is the presence of mines and booby-trapped obstacles, but 140 minesweepers clear the area. In a novel approach, the U.S. Navy deploys radio-controlled Apex drone boats, which are filled with explosives and designed to clear obstacles. Though the drones aren't entirely reliable, they play a part in clearing the way for the landing craft. Massive naval and aerial bombardments support the landings, with 900 ships, including the U.S. battleship Texas, providing fire support. The initial resistance on the beaches is light to non-existent, especially after the bombardment clears out German fortifications. The U.S. troops face few German defenders on most beaches, and casualties are mostly from mines rather than enemy fire. However, Camel Red Beach is a more significant challenge, as it is heavily fortified with German artillery and defensive structures. Just before the landings at Camel Red are set to begin, a last-minute change is made, and U.S. forces are ordered to land at Camel Green instead, which has already been cleared. While the change causes frustration among commanders like General Lucian Truscott, it ultimately saves many lives and reduces casualties at the beach. After the successful landings, the Allied forces quickly link up with the airborne units and prepare for a German counterattack that never fully materializes. German communication breakdowns and poor organization leave their forces in disarray. The Allies, sensing an opportunity, advance quickly and capture key locations such as Le Mouilly, speeding up their breakout and pushing German forces further back. French forces, landing ahead of schedule, push forward more quickly than expected. The German retreat turns chaotic, and by August 19, Allied troops are advancing toward Toulon and Marseille. The invasion, which started with relatively light casualties, ultimately results in the capture of Toulon and Marseille. The Allies gain critical ports, ensuring the flow of supplies and reinforcements into France. However, there are missed opportunities. The Allies could have been more aggressive in cutting off German forces, particularly during the Montélimar battles, but logistical challenges, such as fuel shortages, limit their advance. Operation Dragoon significantly contributes to the defeat of German forces in France, but historians debate its overall impact on the war's outcome. By early 1945, the Allies are poised to advance into the heart of Germany, while the Soviet Union prepares for its own final assault on Berlin. The Battle of the Rhineland and the Battle of Berlin would become the final set-piece battles of the war, marking the end of the Third Reich. The events of Operation Dragoon, alongside the successes in Normandy, helped set the stage for these final confrontations.